Hey there, English learners. Welcome to ML's English Podcast, where grammar gets easier, clearer, and a lot more fun. We're going to start with this one powerful idea. Think about it. The verb. It's the absolute engine of every single sentence you speak and write. If you can master the verb, you are well on your way to mastering English. And today's lesson is all about a really specific part of that, transitive and intransitive verbs. We are going to break it all down, simplify it, and make sure you leave with total confidence. So grab your notebook, stay focused, and let's dive right in. All right, so before we jump into the different types of verbs, let's just do a quick refresher. We need to be on the same page about what a verb actually is. And really, it is the heart of every sentence. To put it simply, a verb is the word that tells you what's happening. It can show an action, right, like Hari laughs. It can show something being done to a person or thing, like the window is broken. Or it can just show a state of being, like in glass is brittle. So it's all about action or being. That is the verb's main job. Okay, and now for the main event. We can basically sort most action verbs into two big categories, transitive and intransitive. And the difference is all about the action's journey. You just have to ask yourself, does the action stay with the person doing it, or does it travel somewhere else? And honestly, this right here, this is the only tool you're going to need. Every single time you see a verb, just ask this one simple question. Does the action pass over from the subject, the doer, to an object, the receiver? If you can answer that, you've totally cracked the code. So let's look at our first type, the transitive verb. The name itself is a huge clue. Transitive literally means passing over. This is a verb where the action starts with the subject, but it has to land on something or someone else. It needs a receiver. It can't just be left hanging. Let's see this in action. A classic example, the boy kicks the football. So, who's doing the action? The boy. He's our subject. What's the action? Kicks. Okay, now for the big question. Does that action of kicking pass over to something? Oh yeah, it passes right over to the football. The football is the object that receives the kick. That makes kicks a transitive verb in this sentence. See how that works? And now for the exact opposite, an intransitive verb. And again, the name is your friend here. That little prefix, in, means not. So this is an action that is not passing over. The action starts and it stops with the subject. It's complete all by itself. It doesn't need an object to receive it. Let's use the same subject but switch the verb. The boy laughs loudly. The subject is still the boy. The verb is laughs. Now, let's ask our question. Does the action of laughing pass over to an object? Nope, the boy just laughs. The action stops right there with him. And loudly, that just tells us how he laughs. It's not receiving the action. So in this case, laughs is intransitive. Okay, so right about now, you might be thinking, great, I'll just go memorize a list of transitive verbs and a list of intransitive verbs. But English has a little twist for you. See, most verbs aren't strictly one or the other. They kind of have a secret identity and can actually play both roles. Just look at this table. It shows you that context is absolutely everything. Take the verb stopped. In the sentence, the driver stopped the train. The action of stopping passes from the driver to the train. That's transitive. But in the train stopped suddenly, the action just stops with train. It doesn't go anywhere else. That's intransitive. It's the same verb doing a totally different job. And this is so important. This is the key takeaway. Don't think of a verb as transitive or intransitive. Instead, think about how it's being used in that specific sentence. This is so much better because you're not just memorizing rules. You're actually analyzing the sentence right in front of you. So, are you feeling pretty confident with the basics? Awesome. Let's take your grammar to the next level then. I've got a couple of advanced tricks that show you just how flexible these verbs can be. This is the kind of stuff that really helps you sound more like a native speaker. First up, what I call the preposition trick. Some intransitive verbs can actually become transitive just by adding a preposition. Look at this. He laughed. Totally intransitive, right? But what if you add the word at? Suddenly, you've built this little bridge that lets the action pass over to an object. He laughed at the joke. And just like that, the joke is now the object. Simple, right? But so powerful. And now for a really cool and maybe a little strange concept. It's called a cognate object. This is what happens when you use an intransitive verb, but you follow it with a noun that has a super similar meaning to the verb itself. It's a very special way to make an intransitive verb act like a transitive one. This slide shows the pattern so well. You don't just dream. You dream a strange dream. You don't just fight. You fight a good fight. You sing a sweet song. You see, the object is directly related to or cognate with the verb. It's a really fun and kind of literary sounding structure to have in your back pocket. Whew, we have covered a lot of ground, from the absolute basics all the way to some pretty advanced tricks. So let's take a second and boil it all down into a few key takeaways that you can remember and start using today. Okay, let's recap. First, the verb is the most important word. For sure, a transitive verb's action passes over to an object. An intransitive verb's action stops with a subject. But the real secret is that most verbs can be used both ways. It all depends on the sentence. And if you want to get fancy, you can use prepositions or those cool cognate objects to make an intransitive verb act transitive. And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. This stuff isn't just a bunch of rules in a textbook, right? It's the toolbox you use every single day to communicate. So think about it. What's a sentence you said today? Was the verb in it transitive or intransitive? Thanks for tuning in to ML's English podcast. I hope today's lesson helped you take one more step toward mastering English. If you enjoyed this explainer, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you'll never miss a new lesson. Have questions or grammar topics you'd like to learn next? Drop a comment below. I'm always listening. Until next time, keep learning, keep practicing, and stay confident. See you soon.